There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a different heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see a nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us, rather you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa, welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world, see those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Hey. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is a sign of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh yeah, people of Biafra. See light shining on the world. Oh yeah.
Hello, Biafrans all over the world. Good afternoon, good morning, and good night, wherever you might be watching us from. This is our wonderful BTVEurope Exclusive, and we are coming to you live from our studio in Veneto, Italy, and it's my pleasure to have you this wonderful Sunday afternoon. And I have a very wonderful guest here who will be joining us briefly. And it's going to be a great interview. You've seen the placard and the advert all over the place. And I believe that many people are already alert. Many Biafrans and lovers of freedom and supporters and haters of Biafrans all over the world knows that we're having this wonderful program today. As you all know, that BTV is where we all gather and spread our news and information as regards to Biafra struggle and every information you need to know about what is going on in this movement. And for me, it is a pleasure to be here. I want to encourage, as you join, please share this program. Make sure you tag your friends. Make sure that you invite people around you in your neighborhood, wherever you might be. I want to send my warm and great greetings to our people, Biafran people in Biafra land, people all over the world, in America, in Europe, in Africa, all over Africa, and wherever you might be watching us from. I'm bringing a great warm salute to all of you. And we have our wonderful Lolo Uchechi Kanu, who will be giving us, as her usual manner, of both inspiration, words of encouragement, and also updating us on activities and things we need to know about our daily information available to her based on the struggle we pursue for Biafra struggle. I want to encourage you once again to share this program, please. It's very, very important. We want it to go viral. We want people to watch this program. We want people to partake in whatever way possible. Unfortunately, we're not going to open the line for questions, and we're going to make it as brief as possible. Like you all know that by 6 p.m. we'll also be going for our RBL X Space weekly program. So I also want to join you to be part of that program later in the day, in the next few hours. But now, as it stands, we have to take our guest. She is not just a guest, but she's also part of the patrons of this program because from time to time she has always come around to interact with us, and it's our pleasure to welcome Lolo Uchechi Kanu, who is right here with us in the studio. Lolo, you're welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mazi. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to have you. The last time we met was in Malaga, Spain, and I think we also had our interaction in this program some few months ago. So, how has it been with you since then?
Um, I can't remember the month now, but I know, yes, I was here. Um, it hasn't been easy, Mazi. It's a very difficult and perilous time that we are all in, and I would say myself as well. Especially, I'm not selfish, but I know that everyone has some part of issue or circumstance that they are facing. But since the last time you and I had a program here, you hosted me. It's been nothing actually changed. Just that I've had to deal with a lot of things. I always deal with a lot of things. So since then, it's been one situation or another, as always. Um, Something precipitating to another, and continuously. So it's been a roller coaster, both emotionally, psychologically, and otherwise. So nothing has actually changed ish, except my health anyway, on the other hand.
Yes, that brings me to the issue of your health because some time ago we saw pictures circulating the social media, possibly in a hospital bed. Can you give us a glimpse of what actually happened? Because there were a lot of rumors out there, speculations out there, and we haven't had that opportunity to hear from you directly. What happened, Lola?
Okay, Mazi. What happened is right now I wouldn't mention the name of the surgery, but what happened is that I have been very ill, very unwell for years, and I had fibroids. So it's something that everybody is acquainted with. Everyone knows what fibroid is, but each person's case is peculiar to them. Each person's experience it's peculiar to their structure and who they are as a person biologically. And we all know that generally fibroids does not do or do not do very well with stress. So when I lost my mom in 2021 March, I was diagnosed with acute grief, and in fact, I had to stop work. But it's there, on my medical record. I was diagnosed with acute grief, and that was the breakdown that I had dealing with my mother's death, my mother's demise, was so severe. It was so hard. It was life threatening. And I started to feel like life was going away from me. And I think that was when the fibroid case just broke down every immune system, everything broke down. And the first time I was diagnosed with numerous fibroids. And everybody knows what fibroid comes with. Basically, it comes with a lot of health issues, constant instability when it comes to your strength and energy and health. Really, it's actually depending on who, it can take one's life. So over the period of how many years now, 4 to going to 5 years, I've had to deal with the issues that come with fibroids, and they were just growing as the day. And as soon as Onyundu was taking, well, exactly 3 months after my mom's death, Onyundu was taking. So all of these impacted on my health so much, and they grew bigger and very big, and with all the things that come with it. Sometimes I wonder how I actually survived up until this year, because it became so bad. I started to kind of have water retention over the years with the stress, and even in Malaga, you could see I had swollen legs. So it was this year that it deteriorating. So my health kept deteriorating with stress and worries, and with the constant loss of blood, because I was constantly losing blood, not having it. I was having accidents and constant taking of medication, and they grew so big. There is nothing else that can be done. I couldn't be helped anywhere else than to going for that major surgery. And in fact, it had to be done as soon as possible, because like I said to you, my health kept deteriorating. It deteriorated down to leaving me with water only. I was having water retention, so my legs would swell up. My legs wouldn't fit into my shoes anymore, and but I kept, just, you see me coming out, and I just kept standing, and not easy, and constant pain, and the rest. Feeling drowsy. I was constantly struggling to stay alive. So that was what happened, Maz. That's why I had the surgery. So I guess my picture you saw was to show that all is not well, or was not well, and that you may not be out there in public and screaming loud with a lot of things, but it's very difficult. And after that very surgery, exactly 1 week after, I had blood clots in my lungs, and something that comes with. Sometimes it depends. I was given the socks for the prevention of blood clots, but I still had it anyway. But I still wear them now. So I still had the blood clot. So they call it pulmonary embolism, and it kills like that. It kills in a split second, or it can cause you stroke or paralysis or something. I had that, and imagine alone in the house, because I had to keep him. I became at a family friends where he wouldn't go to the hospital with me, and so back to the house, I was alone, and alone as always. and I started to lose my breath. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't. And I thought to myself, something is not right. I can't breathe. And I hadn't read the pamphlet they gave me for blood clot. So I didn't know what was happening to me. I was breathing very fast. Oh, sorry, not breathing very fast. I was sweating profusely rather. I was sweating and I was having fever. I started to feel hot. And and I thought to myself, something like this has not happened to me. But it carried me from the sixth day of the post surgery, the post surgery, the day six. I started to feel the pain in my lungs, and I thought it was the way I laid straight. And perhaps if I had laid down, I wouldn't have had the pain. So I went to bed thinking that I would feel better by morning. But then 3 a.m., I woke up. So the 3 a.m. was exactly 7 days and post surgery. And I woke up and I thought, the pain is not going away. Um, I thought, make myself something hot to drink. So imagine someone who's just had a major surgery all by herself, walking down. I went down the stairs. And then because I go to the gym a lot, I kind of have a strong firm in terms of leg work and things. So I managed to go up the stairs. I mean, stronger. You wouldn't believe that I just had surgery. Being mindful anyway. So I made myself something hot to drink and I had some sips and it wasn't stopping. But then I thought myself, I don't usually go to the hospital, don't call much. I believe that I can always go through and whatever, considering all the too much that I have dealing with. And then I had some of that drink and waiting for the pain to stop, it wouldn't stop. I thought, no, this is, and I stopped breathe. Say that I stopped breathing normally. So because my breath would come, I would take in breath and it would hang. So that's what the blood clot does. It does not allow you to take a complete air circulation or whatever for you to have air circulation. So I just hung in there doing, like, and I thought I should call the ambulance. So I called them because I know that UK has also changed in terms of attending to people. When you call them call them via the ambulance department, they may not come or think it's something not very serious and ask you to do something for yourself. But when I told them that I just had major surgery 7 days ago, they knew what I was going through, and I couldn't really speak. So I saw my death and I thought I used the last breath or the last strength that I had to say to them, please help me. So not please help me, like please help. So that's how I was speaking. I'm dying. So because I had that pain in the right side of my lungs, and so I left the door open just in case I die by the time they get there, so they don't have to break the door. And then I rang my sister's husband. I said, I'm dying. So if I die, this is what is going on. I can't breathe. So imagine it's just me alone in the house. And um, somehow I managed to stay. And then they came in 15 minutes rather than 50 minutes. They said they would be there in 50 minutes, but they came in 15 minutes. And that's why I would say, thank good Lord that they came in 15 minutes. Had they come 15 minutes, I wouldn't be here because I'd lost my breath. I couldn't breathe anymore. So it was blocking every single part of my circulatory channels or whatever, and how to breathe. I couldn't even breathe through the mouth. At least you can breathe through the mouth and wait, but I couldn't. I was sweating. And in that moment, I forgot that I had a major surgery. I was just praying, and I was not even praying. Let me not say I was praying. I was not praying. I was fighting to stay alive. So I held on somehow, like I was doing plank on my bed. I just held on there. I was shaking and I was up there doing, and then they zoomed in and they barged into the house. They came all the way upstairs because I told them I'm up in my room upstairs, and it was a horrible experience, Mazi. And They came, did what they did, stabilized me, injected me with thousand, and here I am today. And then they took me to the hospital. They packed all my things and put me on the ambulance and switch on there because they had to get to the hospital before I start having the attack again. So they took me through and I spent nearly a week at the hospital alone, So this is not, it is taking a heavy toll on my health. But I thank God that I'm here. It's part of the experience, Mazi. And so that's what happened. That's what the picture is about. And just so people can see that it is
So, Lolo, you practically escaped death. Is it because the story you're telling is quite gory, And for me, I try to imagine that kind of situation. You practically escaped death.
tiny bit, tiny, very tiny bit, like, tiny bit. Just like that. Because I saw my death, and the only thing that came into my head was Nabi Kim. That's the only picture that I had in my head. How would he? Who will look after him? It's a frightening experience, Maz. It's not a good one.
It's it's a story. When you tell stories like this, people do not understand the gravity of the situation. You have to live it to really understand it. And I also know that the situation with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also have contributed hugely in your ill health and situation that you have to go through on a daily basis. Now that leads me to the the question about the inability of the ministry that is supposed to speak up for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the FCDO that is supposed to be in charge of that is supposed to interface with the Nigerian government. I'm not being critical about them, but do you think they have done what they are supposed to do in this situation, in interfacing, in asking the Nigerian government the necessary questions, especially as regard to the circumstances, the extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? I mean, how do you look at their duties? Have they been able to carry out their duties effectively?
Um, not not at all, Mazi. Not at all. For the FCDO, they're very their job or their duty. For example, we have these special envoys. So if you recall, some time last year, October, we were at the House of Parliament where the APPG had a meeting to say we have a lot of citizens who are held in arbitrary detention. So that's like kidnap, hostage, yeah, hostage situations, because Martin Nnamdi Kanu's situation is a hostage situation. He's been held hostage. Um, so we had that conversation. We attended the meeting, and the conversation that took place was that the UK government does not do enough for their citizens. Countries like China, Ireland, US. I mean, everybody knows that US citizen, once you hold or kidnap any US citizen, the next minute there is a US special, they're called special envoy, who would attend some sort of negotiation for that person to be released. So that's what they do. So China does it, Ireland does it, but UK does not have that. What UK has is the consular department, which is the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, which is the FCDO. So what they do is they assign a certain officer to to a particular citizen who is arbitrarily held abroad. So what they do is for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case, every 8 weeks they go to visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They go to see him at the DSS, and if there's any issue that we raise, they would speak to the Nigerian authority, which is maybe the DSS, and say, "Oh, this is what we think should be done here." So, in terms of UK doing what they should, they haven't done it. They do not do it. Um, they are called diplomatic department, but I don't see any diplomacy in exactly what they are doing. So all they do is visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, have conversations with him, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu tells them off, tells them that you people are accomplice to what has happened to me because you're not doing anything. And sometimes he walks out on them and tells them off. But they haven't, and this is where his frustration comes from. And I'm sure they can understand that because they haven't done what they should do. And they David Lammy last time before he left, I didn't even realize I only realized that he's left when we were about to hold a meeting with the FCDO last week. He did say he would raise that department where envoys would go to negotiate, to speak about citizens who are arbitrarily held. So conversations can be held. So UK government is not doing what they just sit on the fence and they keep saying, "Oh, it's the matter is in court," but that's what the FCDA is saying, FCDO. So that's what they are saying, that the matter is in court, but we know that in their strategic relationship with the Nigerian government, they prioritize maintaining their relationship with Nigeria, and within as
But,
as
but,
a Commonwealth partner.
but Lolo, but the FCDO, have they been able to question the Nigerian government from your knowledge
From my
about,
knowledge, no,
yes, have
from
they
my
been
knowledge,
able?
it is in terms of the diplomatical or diplomat movement or whatever it is that they do, in my own knowledge, they haven't. Because if you last week Tuesday, I had to do a tweet. We usually would do meetings and stuff, but these are not usually things that I always put out there in the public. But because my health is in my head, is in my face, I am struggling with a lot of things. I am dealing with so much. So much is on my plate that I just have to keep something out there to say, okay, I've done this, because this is now the time that things would have to change. So we had a meeting last week Tuesday. That's 21st of that's on the 21st of August. Sorry, of October. Excuse me. The meeting that we held was, okay, this is fourth year now, or going to 5 years. Onyindu is my husband is being held in um DSS dungeon. You keep sending me report of how every 8 weeks is the same report. You've been to see him. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. This was said, that was said, and that's all you've said to me for the past 4 years.
But have there been any report of them questioning the Nigerian government
That's what I'm
surrounding the
answering you. That's the answer that I'm giving
circumstance?
to you. So
Yes.
if you are doing all of this, what exactly have you sincerely done to make sure that Onion, my husband, is released? So the question or the answer is, we can't really do anything because the matter is in court and we cannot interfere in the the
The court,
runnings of the
court
Nigerian
process.
government. We cannot interfere in the Nigerian government's activities and the things that they do. So
But
my
no, no, hold on. The question I'm asking is, to your own knowledge, have there been any report from the FCDA getting a response surrounding the circumstances that brought Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back to Nigeria? That is all we want to know. Have there been any
that's what I'm
communication
answering
from
to
the Nigerian
you.
government about
No,
that?
if you no no if you want a yes or no answer, no, there has to my knowledge there is no such question as to. But that's what I'm telling you. As of Tuesday, that was what I raised. So if they keep telling you that they are not to interfere in the activities of a government. So they can't really, or they haven't asked that question. They know that what has happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is extraordinary rendition. They say it behind the door, but they don't. UK has not owned the responsibility to write it out, to explain, and to release it out there to say to the world that this act against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an act of extraordinary rendition. The UK government has not owned up to that in the public. They have not even declared to at least accept in the public and say, this is so. That was my question to them. You haven't done this. Why have you not? Have you asked Nigeria how he got to? So, UK government, you can't say they don't, they know. They know. And they are complicit. They are. Because you cannot not say that you don't know or you don't understand the process by which your citizen was taken from a third world or a third soil to somewhere else, to Nigeria. Immediately, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was taken. Boris Johnson was there. Buhari went there, and the then Kenyan president attended the meeting. Three of them held the meeting. They refused to tell us till today what was discussed in that meeting.
So at this point, do you see the usefulness of continuous engagement with the FCDA regarding, the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, based on the facts on ground, as regards to their culpability and their complexity in this case? Do you think there is a new approach that needs to be taken in compelling them to do the needful?
The new approach should be taking, to be honest, that I don't see, but you just have to continue to engage them. Yes. I can't say, oh no, don't speak to me, don't write me a report anymore, don't do this. Rather, to continuously remind them that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen and he has right to his family. He has right to life. And his son has right to have his father. And he's someone who, I mean, if there was some sort of, and that's a question, so I'm still trying to answer your question. You haven't asked Nigeria the question, how did he come about his presence in Nigeria? How? Where is his British passport? He didn't travel on Nigerian passport. He traveled on British passport. So how is he here? And then you keep telling me, oh, we can't interfere. And I said to them, what I understand as interference is when you come to Nigeria and say, give Nnamdi Kanu back to us, do not do anything. That's you interfering. And that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking, when you say you are of diplomatic source, I want you to ask the Nigerian government, how is he in Nigeria? Now, that is where you get your extraordinary rendition. Number two, why have you asked them why they are obsessed with his health report? They keep messing around with it. Have you asked them that question? And that was my, so I need to understand if you have asked that question. How is it healthy? How is it unhealthy in terms of analysis and diagnosis? And then on your paper, you're twisting it that he's fine, he's doing well. Now, that is another diplomatic question that you should ask. And then number three, what you should ask the Nigerian government is this: under what law? So, because, yeah, if you say I can't interfere, of course, you cannot just drag him out of the Nigerian government's hand. because the United Nations has spoken to them. Other countries have spoken about this extraordinary condition. Nigerian government is not listening. They don't want to listen. So you, who is, I mean, a custodian, really, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is of your constituent. I mean, he holds your passport. So, third question you should ask them is, under what law are you trialing him? So you've taken him now without applying for extradition. You did not extradite him. You kidnapped him. So since you can't fight Nigerian government or sanction them for this very international crime, have you asked them under what law? What are they trialing him for, and under what law? Because they are trialing him with a repealed law. So these are the questions, and that was one of the reasons we had that meeting on Tuesday. I shouldn't have traveled. I shouldn't travel. I'm not even up to 3 months post surgery, but I
Okay,
did
Lolo.
travel to hold this conversation face to face
Yes.
in order to understand why. And they took it and said, oh, they're going to raise it with the top people out there. So
Okay, I just wish we could get any of the FCDO officials on BTV to respond to some of these questions, because I know that there is a limit to what you can respond, because I know you do not have the necessary informations that they have, and I believe they are not sharing some of these informations with you. So it's very, very obvious that any British citizen can be kidnapped by another government anywhere in the world and get
of
away
course,
with.
but Mazi, they any other there's a recent Egyptian journalist, I think he was arrested, that they've gone to release. They've spoken about him, and they've mentioned they've had the negotiations or whatever it is that they did, and he's been released. But you need to understand that also sometimes we have issues and we don't actually look at our issues. UK government has their economic interest, diplomatic and economic interests, in Nigeria. So they have their oil to protect. Nigeria is a company for the United Kingdom government. But what I also would think about is, if you have a company, you want your company to run properly, I believe. I don't think you want your different departments to be at war. You want to keep peace. So they should also look at that. Their interest lies in their maintaining relationship with Nigeria. They have their oil, they have their trade to consider, but shouldn't be at the expense of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's life. Consider, well, it's Biafra we're talking about here. Biafra is not something that goes through the British government's corridor of power. It doesn't just pass through without them turning around. Biafra is not something that you just talk about and people don't shiver. It is a very complex and complicated situation, Maz. So we need to always bear that in mind as well.
So the British trade and economic interest supersedes the interest of their
It's more
citizens.
important to them because they are also looking into all the citizens' arbitrary detention. They're looking into it and going forth to do something about it. But they're not doing that for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They're not doing that for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ever since we attended the Parliament meeting, a few people have been released, and recently the same person that was his case was discussed, as well as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case in the Parliament there, has been released just recently. I think I tweeted it on BBC. Is Egyptian Al Ahmad or whatever his name is. Yeah, and he's released now, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is not being spoken of. It's not. It's like
Oh,
is
okay,
it is the
Lolo,
can going to it.
yeah, we'll be looking forward to engaging the FCDO officials here. If there is any way you can link us up with them on BTV, so that we can bring them also to this program to give us a glimpse of the effort they are making in that regard, in freeing in freeing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and the job they've done so far. It will be of interest for the Biafran people and the world as well, because I don't want to be in a situation where we're going to judge them behind their back. I would like to engage them on BTV, and I'll be glad if you can make up that link with us so we would have that conversation. Recently, we saw Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took a very, very drastic decision in stepping down his legal team and have decided to represent himself. Lolo, people are having different views. We've seen an analyst. Some people are also saying that is a very great strategy. A lot of people are saying that he's going to need a legal counsel at the long run, considering the humongous charges and accusations before him. What is your view as regards to this move that your husband made in this past week?
Thank you, Mazi. It's not yeah, I can understand the different opinions that people may have. But this is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu signaling that he intends to summon major figures in the government, security, political leadership as witnesses in his defense, and that will bring about. If you look at the names of these people, when they if they because we know that they will not attend court, although I've heard Wike did say if he's summoned by the court that he would appear, but the rest we know that they will not. So Nigeria and their citizens don't obey their court um, orders. So this is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dividing these witnesses into um, two categories. Okay, so among those he listed in the compellable or say vital categories are the Yesum, Wike, the Theophilus Danjuma, the former Minister of Defense, the former Chief of Army Staff, and the Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State, of course. That has to do with NSAS and the rest of them. You have Hope Uzodinma, the Governor of Imo State, and then you have the Minister of and that's Dave Umahi. You have Abubakar Malami, former Attorney General, and others, including the former intelligence head ex-governor. So what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has done is to put these people on trial. So by the time they finish, if they attend the court, Mazi, this is one to assert that the wrongdoing or the conspiracy involved is by these high level actors. Okay, so this is what this strategy. That's what I see. That is my opinion. And then to shift the burden or the burden of proof, calling the government to account. So you can see here that in this case, Nigerian government is not looking at the number one factor that that can enable them to actually trial this case. And that number one factor is, how did he come about his presence in Nigeria? He was kidnapped, he was extraordinarily renditioned. So calling the government to account, they are not taking this into cognizance. If they accept that this is extraordinary rendition, you cannot trial him, because I don't care whatever thing it is they're saying. They should have applied for extradition, for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be extradited, but that didn't happen. So they stole him, kidnapped. So he who comes to law, comes to equity, must
Who
come
comes to
with
see? Yes, he who comes to come with
equity. Yes.
yes,
Yeah, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So
yeah,
it's
that's
not just something that. So when you're coming to law, so what Nigeria should have done is, they had gone and they've tried to apply for extradition, but there is nothing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is doing wrong. Okay, so they followed him, they trailed him, they thought that yes, kidnapping him is the only way, but knowing that they are thick-headed, that they don't listen to or they do whatever they like. Okay, so that is my opinion to how
But because I've always said, Lol, I've always said that, in my view, that the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was as a result of desperation. When you look at the circumstances surrounding the activities of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and how he has put a lot of pressure on the Nigerian government under Buhari. I felt that the the move that was made in Kenya was born out of desperation. And do you think that they actually wanted to extraordinarily rendition Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria? Because in my view, didn't believe they actually wanted to do that. Possibly they wanted to eliminate him, but maybe by divine providence, he was returned back. So, what is your own view as regard to my own thinking?
Your thinking is right, Mazi. You're absolutely. I think was it Malami who said it that they wanted to kill him? Do you recall that publication?
Okay.
So he did say that they wanted to kill him, but they decided not to kill him. It is out there in the public domain. So their plan was to eliminate him. But if I don't have an evidence to something, I will not hold on to it and claim that it is the fact. But I know that the British government was aware when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was taken, and I'm sure they may have. I am saying this allegedly. I am not placing this on them to say, oh yes, they spoke with the Nigerian government before. But I also know that the Nigerian government wanted, perhaps, as you said, Mazi, as you rightly put it, by divine intervention of God, their thought was to, okay, since this is how you speak, we need to bring it to Nigeria. We need to put you and your group IPOB to shame. So what they also tried to do was to bring about shaming the people, shaming it's about Igbo people, it's about IPOB. So they tried to bring him, show the world that, oh, so this is you think we can't get him. So I think that is the intervention that you're talking about. So I would slide towards that thought of yours as well, Mazi.
Now, talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu legal issues, what do you see? Because the entire trajectory have changed, especially with the recent move in the past 1 week, getting people involved, calling names. Uh, do you think is going to have the possibility to really interrogate these high profile individuals who have played different roles, while some of them were governors and ministers? And do you think he's going to have the possibility to also interrogate them? Because I know that many of them have been pretending as if they were not part of the event that took place at the time. So many of them have been hiding, trying to exonerate themselves in one way or the other. Do you think he's going to have the opportunity to actually interrogate them and get some facts about the role they play, especially during the answer? Because we've seen people continue to talk about what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said during the answer, the rhetorics, but nobody is talking about who ordered the military to open fire at Loki Toge. I think that conversation is being downplayed. So for me, I think we are not having a balanced conversation when it comes to the issue of NSAS, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and the role everybody played.
Absolutely. So Mazi, thank you very much for this question. When we talk about scapegoat process, you also know when we talk about when people are grasping at straws. Number one, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does not control the people of Lagos. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not the leader of NSAS. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was only analyzing what was going on. So in his analysis, because I have also seen where people are talking on the social media space saying there was this clip I saw, the Nigerian police was trying to scale the fence of someone they were trying to, with masks on, trying to arrest someone, and some people are saying, if I see you there scaling my fence in masks, I will shoot. And the person was saying they should shoot these people even though that they are police. So tagging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to NSAS means that these people have no case. So to answer your question, Mazi, I think yes, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be able, not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will interrogate them. So for you to even ask that question is that you don't know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So first of all, Mazi, this is to assert the legitimacy of this case and the moral high ground, because they're trialing him on repealed law. This is all conviction. This is not legal procedure. This is this is a political tribulation.
Political
So
trial.
that's what it
Yes.
is. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will inter if they, because I know that they will not come, and I'm sure you know they won't. So if they
Well,
eventually come,
you can never say at this point. You can never say at this
okay, so
point.
let's assume that yes, they will come. So to answer your question, yes, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be able to interrogate them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be able to interrogate every single person he has named, and he will be able to, because he is the one with the knowledge of what he said and why he said what he said and the reason he said what he said. So who actually ordered the killing?
I
Because
think we are
Nigerian government
having
has not been
network
taken to, have they
issues.
been taken to, I think Buhari,
I don't know where the
someone took
issues
them
are
to
from. I
ICC.
just hope it's not from my end. Um, let's.
Mazi, I hope you can hear me. Okay. Okay. So Mazi, I can't remember. Yeah, I was talking about who ordered the
Yeah.
killing of the NSAS protesters. People, citizens who were protesting peacefully. So maybe some people don't know exactly that October, that same month that NSAS was holding, Belarusians in Belarus were also protesting against their bad governance or bad government. They were only attacked with water, cannons. You know how you shoot with water and shoot and tear gas. This is what we know, that even when we were in school, when students are protesting and protesting something, there's always they bring in military, they bring in and they use only tear gas, and that's just to chase them away. They use that or whatever to chase people, not to shoot. You don't shoot people, you don't take people's life because they are protesting, because they didn't come to you with gun. They're not coming after you with gun or sticks. They're just saying with placards that they do not accept what is going on. And that was it. So yes, this has been downplayed over the years, Mazi. And you have the thick people who are quite very thick, who tried to tag this alongside to Mazi Nnamdi. Like that is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being arrested or being tagged a terrorist. So yes, Mazi, to answer your question, he will interrogate them.
Okay, that is interesting, and I believe that the world is also watching. A lot of people are interested to see what's going to play out. That is if the judiciary is going to give the opportunity, because we've seen maneuverings over time in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where the judiciary seem to be on the side of the government, because under normal circumstances, um, a man who was actually kidnapped from Kenya does not have any business in a legitimate court. So I think that alone, because you cannot build illegality, you can't build legality on illegality. Any government who goes outside the rule of law to engage in kidnapping, to engage in extraordinary rendition, uh, does not have any business trying to establish a legal stand, because you have already broken the rule of engagement. And these are part of, because anytime I look at the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, look at the injustice, I personally believe that the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu goes a long way to show the world about the injustice he has been talking about over the years. That
Absolutely.
Nigeria is not a state that can give anybody justice. We also saw what happened during the election petition tribunal, where the court didn't even admit evidences because they felt that they needed to take a side, or they needed to, they already have a favored person they feel that, they've already made up their mind. So the Nigerian justice system is on the one on trial here, as far as
Absolutely. Yeah.
we are
Both the
concerned.
system and both the
Yes.
judiciary and the government, because of course the executive, they have hijacked both the legislative department and the judiciary department. So it is what the government wants that the judiciary would do. If Buhari or whatever, or Tinubu does not say, "Oh, let Mazi Nnamdi," so you can see what happens when the bail is given to an individual. When you can see how we got discharged and acquitted based on. So the question is also with the system, Mazi. Is with the system. So I just couldn't make my I can't really put my head together as to how we don't understand how this system is structured. Because if we're saying that the government is corrupt, it comes from the depth of who a person is. So even some of the people shouting, the government is, bad governance. If you put them in that place, they are as corrupt as the current government. So the people allow this because it is who they are. So they just keep going and going. Because I know that if all Nigerians stand up and say enough of this nonsense, it will come to an end. Because how many people are in the military? So if all Nigerians wake up and say we've had enough, the militaries will drop their guns and they will run away. But because Nigeria is laced by tribal disparity and religion disparity, they can't come together. And whilst you're saying what these people are doing is wrong, some buffoon somewhere is saying, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay because it is being meted on someone they don't like." And why do you not like this person? They don't understand. It's just by paradigm of how they have grown and how they have come to see people using a certain lens paraded by their ancestors, and and the cycle just continues.
Yeah, so Lolo, I know that you have been on the part of working with the established structure of IPOB. I know you have shown great collaboration in working with the established structure of IPOB. The last time we were here, I also asked you, because I love asking this question to get your perspective on their performance, and have anything changed since the last time we talked about IPOB structure and its leadership? Do you have a new view about their performance, or do you have any advice for them?
Well, thank you, Mazi. No, I don't have any change in my view. That is number one. Number two, the Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, some months ago, he did say something in the court. When he was asked a question, he did say the day-to-day activities of IPOB is being run by the DOS. That is how I know that IPOB is set up. That is how IPOB is set up. It's set up for the Directorate of State to run the affairs. So I shouldn't. I'm not in the league of asking my interviewer a question. I wanted to ask you a question. If the DOS are no longer in charge, not let me not say in charge. If they drop this whole thing and say, you know what, everybody, we've had enough. What do you think would happen, Mazi?
Well, it will lead to structural collapse, and that has great implication. Uh, because as far as I know, the way engine that moves the struggle, and that is where you even have the real organization. So the collapse of the DOS automatically sends people in disarray, and I believe that is the fight the government actually that is the area the government, the Nigerian government would want to see things go, uh, because let me tell you, I've read books, I've had interventions, I've also had experience where Nigeria as a government, always have issues with institutions and not individuals. They understand the strength of institutions. And I remember when Buhari said, go and form a political party. I remember there was an interview he granted when he was, I don't know if it was a real one or the, but he said, go and form a political. So they understand the importance of having a structure, and I believe that the threat the Nigerian government face today is not just Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and also he's being punished because he has been able to set up an institution. And the only thing that also scares them away is not just Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as an individual, but because he has a running structure uh, that is there to speak for him even when he's not present. And I believe that the fight that IPOB have had over the years is a battle to also destroy the structure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have set up. So for me personally, because you asked me a question, I would tell you that anything that would lead to the collapse of the structure automatically leads to the collapse of IPOB, which will be, uh, a very big success for the Nigerian state. It will be they are going to open champagne for it and celebrate it, and that is, I think, that gives some level of response to your question, even if I'm the host. I have also chosen to be the guest for
Yes.
like 2 minutes. Yes.
Yes, Mazi. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like I said, I wouldn't have asked you that question, but I wanted to ask you a question because people, I am someone who I believe in core values and I believe in structures. I don't like disorder. I like things to be followed as should be. And I like when you put something down, you follow straight to it. Don't change, don't move. If you get That's why I have problems with people. You must be upright. If you come around me, if you're not sitting upright, and I detect you in a second, and I have no room whatsoever. That is why I've had to not speak to some people, because I have no room for disorder. I have no room for indiscipline, regardless what it is. So you have answered the question, Maze. If there is no central command for this, you have seen what happened with this midget in Finland. That was his job. So the government knows to create other tiny rebels on the side to say, oh, they're IPOB, oh, they're IPOB. And IPOB keeps saying, this person is not our member. And for this little boy in Finland to continuously come out to accept the things he's done, saying that, oh, he was the one doing them, but the Nigerian government and their allies kept tagging IPOB to it, would tell you what their goal is, that it will be to bring, because tagging IPOB, prescribed or terrorist organization, is a joke. It is an absolute joke. They make joke of themselves, and when one has no integrity, they have no shame. So there is no shame in how they behave. If there is no central command to IPOB, there will be a collapse. Just as you said, everybody would hear. I mean, they would get a spoon, at least a teaspoon, teaspoonful of their own whatever that will come with it. And the main bigger point here lies is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I understand what structure is about. And I understand that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has created something that has never been presented anywhere else in the world. There is no such organization, not as big as IPOB. So it is a threat, and they don't want to have it. They don't want it to survive. So anybody who is coming after the leadership, I think we've lost Mazi came. So if anybody's
Go
coming
ahead. I'm
after
here.
the
I'm
leadership,
listening.
coming after the DOS,
I'm listening.
what do you hope to achieve? If you have followed me, Mazi, from day one, I can digress a little bit. So say 2015, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was first taken, I stood to say this is how the structure works. And you have Uchemefe, who was the deputy leader, and you have some understanding that you wonder, where is this understanding coming from? Because I had to change the lawyer who wasn't doing what he should do for my husband. People don't understand what it is. They don't understand. And all of this is in my book. But that is a conversation for another day. In that year, I continued to speak of the importance of centralized command. You cannot, even if there's an issue, and another problem is that we as a people do not understand the techniques in communication. There is no form of communication breakdown rule or whatever in this. So people have this, they bring this mentality and cause chaos all in the name of disagreeing with someone. There will always be disagreement between two people as long as there's someone else beside you. Even with children, you have disagreement with your children. Yeah. So when the disagreement comes, you sit together in that organization and trash it out and deal with it and look into it. But because there is some sort of jealousy and evil mindedness and I don't know, and this is wickedness in people that frightens me. You tend to create chaos. Breaking the DOS or destroying the DOS will not benefit us at all. Most especially, it will not benefit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It will be a disaster. And I will not let that happen. Not in this life. So, Mazi Patrick, to answer your question, I will, like I said, I will continue to stand by the leadership because these men have fought, because they also understand the duty and the goal of the government, the Nigerian government, not just the Nigerian government. You can see the British government is not very comfortable with IPOB either, because this is a force that would be very difficult to reckon with. So it's something that they are afraid of. So however they think they can bring it down, they fight it. But we know if we understand our war, then we know how to fight it. So it is very important that we keep IPOB standing. And by these men, the DOS. So Mazi, yes, I don't falter usually. When I stand by something, I stand by it, and that's it. And before I stand by something, I understand what I'm standing by.
Quite interesting, Lolo. Quite interesting. In the next few minutes, we'll be rounding up. And I would like to put a question across to you as regards to how you see the attitude of Biafran people in general terms, and the advice you have for them, in this trying time in the struggle for Biafra restoration. In a very short analysis, the attitude of our people and the advice you have for them.
Oh, Mazi, in a very short, in a very short, in a very short sentence, I would say I am an ardent believer of unity, Mazi, because I seem to have lost you again. Hello, Mazi.
Lola, go ahead. I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm here. I can hear you. I can see you. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. All right. excuse me, excuse me. Um, the attitude of our people, just as I mentioned a few seconds ago, it's I will not say that I am disappointed. I can only be thankful that those who understand what it means to behave or to stand in alignment with purpose, unity of purpose, unity of or clarity in purpose as well. I am thankful that they exist. But the people who don't understand this, I would say that I am disappointed. I think that what we have a journey, which is Biafra restoration. But in this journey, we would have obstacles. And one of the obstacles is exactly what we're facing today. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's illegal detention and illegal trial, and the constant altering of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's medical health. You see, that we must take that very seriously. How they alter his health report, how they change dates, how they mess around with it, and people don't really hold on to it as much as they should. So it's very important that we understand that the very movement that we're in, that this very journey is very perilous, is is complex, and it can be tiring. But because we know where we're going to, we can hold on. So this attitude of not ndikwe ndiekwe, or I agree, or I don't agree. This person is agreeing, the other person is saying no, I don't agree. So even if you must not agree, everybody must not be in agreement. But there are better ways to show that you disagree with someone. So the Biafran, I don't know if it's the people under the IPOB leadership, Mazi, that you mean, or other Biafrans who are not um,
I mean, Lord, I mean in general, in general, in
in
general.
general. Okay, of course, like
Yeah,
yeah, in general, we
I
need
know,
to.
I know it's difficult to put that analysis in a very good perspective, or in a better perspective, or in a more perfect perspective. I do not expect you to give me the
It doesn't
perfect
have to be
answer.
perfect, Mazi. It
Yes,
doesn't have to be perfect, but we know what our problem is. I know that I've seen some people trying to say, "Oh, Igbos are they are in unity. Igbos they love themselves." That is not
they don't
true.
love
Yeah,
themselves.
they try to fight on the social media, but that is not true. It's a simple truth that Igbos do not. They have this wickedness. Let me not say Igbos, so Biafrans, yeah, they have this jealousy. I don't know. They don't. It has to be me. You know, it, we need to come together and say it has to be us. That is why I always put out the analysis of a family. Like, this is me, this is my brother, even though some brothers don't agree, but this is our family, and this is another family coming to dethrone us or to do something to us. So we have to fight back. And that is how I always have to put it. We need to pick up the spirit to fight the oppression that we get. We are oppressed. We need to understand. And if you're oppressed, what you can do as a simple human being with basic instinct for self preservation is to fight back. And how do you fight back? If you fight back by legal, you fight back by physical, if it has to be, however it is, by mental, what is dialoguing and whatever it is. But if whatever oppression you're facing and is too much for you, you seek support system. So how is that support system coming? By all of us coming together, understanding that in every fight in the world, it has always been a divide and rule tactics that they use to defeat them. So we need to understand that we are one. Biafrans, we are one. It doesn't matter what language the other person is speaking, because I've seen, oh, this is from this place, even though we're all Biafrans. That nonsense is still there. I don't really care where anyone is
Yeah,
from.
no, but there has in recent time I've come across some argument about some individuals saying that the, these are Igbo people who say that we are not oppressed, that we're only playing victim. I've come across that argument. Some people say, no, we are not oppressed in any way. We're
They
only
are
playing
scared,
victim.
Mazi. Yeah, well, of course we know. I've seen some of those, and I know when people write, I know where they're coming from. There are different kinds of hearts, Mazi. There are hearts that are saying, "Oh, why is it not me?" There are hearts that are feeling little. "Oh, why is this person saying this?" There are hearts that are broken, and there are hearts that are abandoned. There are hearts that are how do I say,
Yes,
wannabes.
I think that we have it. Okay, okay, go ahead because you
So there
left
are different
briefly.
kinds of hearts.
Go
So
ahead.
those saying that we're not oppressed, did they give you the breakdown of how we are not oppressed? Even the governors, even your so-called Eastern governors, they know. They say it behind the doors. They know it is there. You look at the House of Assembly, how many should be there? How many states should we have? So there are 1001 reasons why we can say yes, we are oppressed. And these people saying we're not oppressed, they know. They were once saying it. But because it's in Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB, they're saying it is not. And that makes them very small. That makes them less human, because I don't take them seriously, Mazi. So if you are stating the
But
reasons for being oppressed, they should match you as to how you're not oppressed. Yes, I think that's they do debate in school. Oh, the reason I would say for this to happen is this. Based on this reason, I think this should happen. And your opponent will say, "Oh, I propose this," and the other one say, "I oppose it based on this, because this." So, but they just there is rhetorics, Mazi. Just writing rubbish, trying to appear relevant when where they're not.
Lolo, this issue of oppression is also can also be classified as marginalization as
Of course,
well.
Mazi. Yes, that's the
Uh,
name.
yes. I have also seen people say that everybody in Nigeria is marginalized. Why is it that it's the only Igbos that are complaining? What is your response? Because I also believe that everybody in Nigeria is marginalized. I believe and I know it, that everybody in Nigeria is marginalized. But why are the Igbos the loudest in speaking out
Mazi.
against marginalization?
Yeah, the Igbos are the loudest because if you see some of the treatment that has been or some of the treatment that have been given to other parts of the or other individuals who hail from different part of the contraption called Nigeria, of course we can see the very glaring example, yes, of the Nigerian government negotiating with bandits and giving them amnesty or whatever it is. They've created different programs. There's one called de-radicalize, the 3Ds, the 3Rs rather, de-radicalization, rehabilitation, where they always rehabilitate these bandits into the system. They send them straight to the military. The military is filled with these men, with these Boko Haramis. So you can see we constantly say, for example, this is the glaring example we can use to say that this is a rule for this part of the country. Those who are the Fulani men, or the Fulani indigenes, or the Fulani citizens, or whatever they're called, they have a different um,
Different
acceptance,
treatment.
a
Yes.
pattern to the system than the Igbos. So what did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu do? What did he do? What did he say? Was there anybody in court that said This is me. This is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu asked me to do, and I've done it. There is no such evidence. So why is he being held the way he's held? Why do we not have seaports? Why do we not have refineries in the east? The federal roads that we have in the east, I don't know how much you've been in the east. There is nothing there. Federal, not state. I'm talking about the federal, not the state roads. So we are being marginalized. If you listen to Kenneth Okonkwo's last, I think few months ago, a few weeks, you can hear him listing several. As much as we need to have in the House of Assembly, we don't every single thing. I have had certain close conversations with some very top people in Igbo land, and they know. But there's this fear, and this I wouldn't say is fear. I would say is maybe fear and also selfishness, because if you really love your people, you will stand up and fight for them, and you will not grovel at the feet of your oppressor just to have a loaf of bread that is meant to be given to you. And we cannot also excuse the corruption or the embezzlement within the government, where even the eastern governors or whatever they're called squander their money, or just mess around with it. That one is there. It is what Nigeria is known for: corruption, embezzling of funds. That is there. But then you have the remarginalization of the Igbos. It is there.
Okay, Lolo, let me ask you, in a system that marginalizes, like you agreed with me that everybody is marginalized, in a system that marginalizes everybody, is this kind of system supposed to be sustained? If people agree that everybody is marginalized, why should such a system be sustained?
It shouldn't, Mazi. It shouldn't. It should not be sustained. Not at all. Um, but the question is, why has it gone for so long? Why has it remained present for this long? Yeah. So, and that is where you would talk about the elite non-indulgence in the quest for regional development, or say, for a better regional development, because they are not indulging in it. They are not fighting. So when everybody is quiet and you have one voice just rising up, so if all of these elite and the governors, if they all rise up and say, we have stagnation of infrastructure and public services, Mazi. Okay, you have the critical infrastructure such as roads, healthcare facilities, educational institutions, and public utilities. Without the elite advocacy, it's like that is why it seems like our voice, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu voice, is dissenting, and is a crime. So
Criminalization.
there is no indulgence by these elites to talk about the limited employment. Of course, that's surrounding Nigeria, and the economic opportunities. You know, is the weak regional voice and representation, Mazi, that we need to really, really hold on to here. So this very system should not be sustained, Mazi. To answer your question, no, should not be sustained.
So automatically, anybody who stands up to question the system is automatically criminalized.
Of course. And that is why you have the British government not really coming in, because it's altering, is interfering in their trade and what is it called, political and trade partnership and relationship with Nigeria. So a case such as creating cessation is something that's most governments would not openly coming to interfere, but they are closely watching what is going on, because they always attend Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's court case. I don't know for what what purpose. I don't know they said they're making sure that it's a fair hearing, but they have not actually counted the judicial, or at least question the judicial procedural law and process by which they are using to charge or to trial Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So yeah.
So before I put out the last question, I would like to know, which is going to be my last question. We've seen that after the war between 1967 and 1970, our progenitors went back into Nigeria, started investing. Uh, they didn't put any structure behind for eventuality should the three R's were not met, no plan was put in place. So even after the promises of reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, promises were failed, there was no way they could fall back to question the system or question the government because these structures were not put in place to stand in for people of the eastern region. Everybody went back into Nigeria with the hope and belief that eventually that Nigeria is going to fulfill those promises that never came, even after 50 years. Now, my question is, what do you see? How do you see IPOB on the long term in putting the structures that can sustain the struggle? Because we all know that people come in and go. Tomorrow I might no longer be here. I'm also advancing. How do you see IPOB, continuous, being able to build a structure that is being fixed today to be able to continue this struggle for the next, possibly if it has to last another 50 years? What advice do you have for our people in terms of sustaining a structure that can sustain the Biafra struggle? We've seen people say, oh, Namigo restore Biafra. We might not, our generation might not restore the Biafra, but we need to put the structure that can do that eventually if things are done right. What advice do you have for our people to stand behind a structure that can give us a long-time benefit and victory, so that we don't have to be selfish about who is going to restore Biafra, but building a sustainable structure that can eventually set our people free, looking at the history where we failed and got it wrong, so we don't get it wrong again this time around? What advice, and this is going to be my last question, Lolo.
Okay, thank you, Mazi. So to answer your question, I alluded initially that when you have a problem, you need to understand your problem. You need to understand how that problem is structured. That is why some people can get very frustrated with me, because I'm very detailed. I have to break down every single thing, and then I start to just go through them strata by strata, understanding the strata and where that is coming from. So if you going back to, this is how this whole thing is. We were fought against by powers that be, not just Nigeria, because if it was only Nigeria, we were able to sustain the territory. We sustained our territory, we protected, we self-preserved for 3 years. That is with nothing. That is no joke. That should tell you the capacity of Biafrans and what they are made of. So the no victor, no vanquish, Mazi, was a face value. It was a narcissistic. It was very narcissistic. It was a ploy, and that was declared by us. It was declared by Yakubu Gowon. We did not actually take the step to understand or have it written that we are coming back into the system and this is what should be done for us. We were only giving £20. Yeah. And that's it. There was no rehabilitation, no reintegration. Like you said, the 3 R's were not incorporated. So since then, that very no victor, no vanquish was a very diplomatic um it is deadly because it did not intend to communicate despite the whole loss and all of that. Instead, it was used to encourage, well, national unity, healing, and avoidance of retributive justice. There was no retributive justice, and that very retributive justice is what we are still struggling to today. Okay, there was no reconstruction. But then, for IPOB to remain sustained, to remain sustainable, to be sustainable over time, as long as we continue in the quest for Biafra realization, Mazi, we have to, we need to walk alongside the people. It's very important. We need to walk alongside the people. We need to talk about our growth and power structures. We need to also create a setting structure that educates the people. Not just education is very important, Mazi. And even here in IPOB, there should be a department that lectures people in terms of I don't say anything in a day without talking about consciousness, because it's what shapes who we are. It shapes the person who meets us, what we leave them with. It is by our consciousness that we behave in a certain way, and whoever we meet decides to either deal with us again or remove themselves from us. So, changing the way we speak. And we have Scotland, Mazi. You know how Scotland is here in the UK, the United Kingdom, Scotland, and you know about Catalonia. So we as IPOB, we will have to work alongside the people. The fact that we are IPOB members does not mean that we are enemies, because I sense that very energy ooze that, oh, because you're not an IPOB member, you're my enemy. We have families in Nigeria. They still use naira. They still, they still go to school in Nigeria. So the fact that we are seeking for Biafra restoration, we are not. Nobody's our enemy. We're not asking for war. It is by referendum, and for us to maintain that is for referendum, we need to infuse ourselves as well in the, because I get it. Oh, this person is my enemy because this person is in the government. This person is this, therefore this person is not our friend. No, no, no. That is, we if we have that very understanding, then we need to stop it. We need to reintegrate it ourselves. We need to understand the structure of this very IPOB. So for us to sustain ourselves, because we cannot become enemies to everybody, how are we then going to get the Biafra? We won't be able to if everybody, if everyone becomes our enemy. So we need to understand that we are seeking a certain space for ourselves, but it does not mean that the other people are our enemies. No. We bring in the way we behave in the church, and this, the value, the belief system that we have is thwarted, it's distorted, and it gets to me sometimes. So for us to keep in sustainability, for IPOB to hold for the next generation to carry on going, we need to build, create our economic, how do I put it? Our economic tank as to how to run the structure, who to incorporate, who to bring in. And then we need our value system, we need our educational system incorporated for people to understand what Biafra is. Biafra is not hatred, is not insulting, is not insolent, is not aggravating. Just so you speak, you say, oh, this is who we are, this is what we want, but we are still here, we are still in Nigeria. I mean, so Nigeria is not our enemy. So we need to understand that this is how to sustain. We create a system where we have healthy relationship, Mazi, with our elite, with with the government that we're still under. Yes, it's the Nigerian government. So we must have a certain level of healthy relationship with them, regardless. We must have a healthy relationship with our elites. Ohaneze and the rest of them, this Iwodibo, I don't know who that those ones they're always talking, I don't know. So we need to have close communication. We can hold conferences. We come together. We come in. We are not we don't have leprosy. They don't have leprosy. It's all about human life and preservation. Or what your core values are is not what my core values are. Therefore, I want to be separated. And if when we meet under a signed contract. We meet under a treaty. That is how you see Afghanistan traveling to America. Otherwise, they will send them back. But there are certain things that will uphold a certain person to enter into this person's territory. So, whilst we are still in Nigeria, what I advise is that we create laws of system to sustain ourselves. I like the agricultural implementation that the DOS set up, people going back to farming, understanding that feeding is very important and it's not everything you have to buy from the market. We don't need GMO. We don't need it because if there is no health system, no health, like you have the NHS here where you can easily run to the hospital. If it's not there in Nigeria, then what is the humans hope there? So if, as much healthy as we can eat, we must inculcate that into our system. So IPOB should raise up, different departments. There is the agricultural one is great. Then educational system is very important. Education is not always when you do mathematics and physics. You know, re reintegration. Leaving behind relearning of what we think we know, and not this nonsense. Not by face value, going back to our root. What does that even mean? What does it entail? What is it about? What is it? So, and also teaching people that if you're in religion, it is not about seeing the other person as someone who will not make heaven, or that's not true at all. So to also understand where we're going to, we need to have systems that show sustainability. And the people like DOS, all the what are they called? Like reps, European reps and the rest of them, coordinators, should be having trainings, should be having workshops, should be having as to how to speak. People don't know how to speak, they don't know how to talk to, they don't have communication. So teaching that, you will
we,
see people
we,
begin
we
to.
have individuals, we have the communication deficiency on individuals.
Mazi, is it when yeah, when it exceeds a certain percentage, then it's a problem. So here I see it as a problem because it has exceeded a certain percentage and it's unhealthy. So we need to go back to consciousness, to thinking, this person I want to speak to, how if he speaks to me like this, would I like it before you go ahead? So it's very important that we you know refresh our consciousness. We all have it, becoming conscious of what we say, where we say it, what time we say it. I want to say a lot of things. I want to do a lot of things, but this is not the right time. We have something that is facing us, and until that is attained, then one must be careful what how you show that you're angry is very important. So not this it's crazy. So, as they say, intelligent people suffer a lot because you're intelligent. You're thinking, is this, if I do this, and the other person who doesn't know is running around like a naughty child and thinking that, oh, they're the ones talking, they're the ones winning. No, that's not that. It's a wrong time. So understanding all of this is very important, and understanding that if you're joining IPOB, this is your responsibility and this is IPOB's responsibility. So that would create sustainability, Mazi, creating that economic tanks by maybe someone, I don't know, like some sort of creating things back home We have companies to create. We need manufacturing businesses that IPOB will going, speaking with the elites to come, hold meetings with them and say, this is what we need. How can you move forward to do this, even though we're seeking for referendum? So we're not just going to go back and say, oh, we are seeking for referendum while everything deteriorated. Oh, our kids are not going to school because we are seeking freedom, then leaving behind the day-to-day activities of our current generation. So Mazi, this is there's too much. I may not be putting them
I can relate. I can relate. I know that there's a lot you would want to say, but unfortunately, we have a limited time to. But I believe that you always be here. You've always been our guest. From time to time, we would like to continuously also engage you so that you'll be able to have the opportunity to express yourself and continue to educate our people. I understand you 100% because I know that there is still a lot of work to be done, and we'll continue to reinforce the structures that already exist, continue to better them. Like I've always said, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, had that singular capacity to restore Biafra, he didn't have any reason, or he wouldn't have the need to assemble people or gather everybody around him to help him do the job. He would have just gone out there, go get Biafra and hand it over. But because he understood that he's going to need a collaboration of the people, he's going to need every hand on deck. That was why he built a structure that can sustain the movement. And for me, I believe that the sustaining of this movement is a collaborative engagement where everybody have to bring their own opinion and contribution. Uh, because if we understand what we are doing, we will understand that we all have a stake in the journey. And when you understand that you have a stake in the journey, you make your own contribution in bettering, the movement and making your contribution within the structure, and not trying to form opposition or trying to form any form of, division. So for me, in my view personally, I have always looked at a long term, a short term, and immediate plan. Because we know that, you know when you look at the histories of the countries that have gotten their independence or freedom, it's not just an overnight. It's not just an overnight thing. They put in a long time, years possibly, into making sure. And one other thing again, people need to understand, I've always said, is it's not just getting Biafra. You also, in the course of your journey for self, you know, realization, or your emancipation, you must also be able to put structures in place, just like you're saying. You must also be able to educate the people, because if you carry this baggage into your new republic, you are going to have to deal with them. So the process of the journey also help you to refine, purify, carry out a lot of work in terms of education, being able to put, the right infrastructures right, so that when you walk into your new freedom, you'll be able to sustain it. Ordinarily, Nigeria might even be a paradise compared to the Biafra that we are fighting for if things are not put right. Lolo, do you have something to say?
From what you just said, Mazi, yes, well, I always have something to say. You've said it all, Mazi. It's very important. if we if we have some sort of reflective system where people do reflections. In fact, it's one of the things that I would have to set up where reflections take place, because from reflections you can see some things. I don't know how many people that sit back in the evening and say, "Oh, how did my day go today? What did I do?" And how can I do it better? Not how can I missed shooting this one. How can I shoot them tomorrow? No, no, that's not what I mean. What did I do today? How does that help humanity? And how will that profit me? how would that profit society um, moving forward? So that's reflective, because if we move from what I see, it's like pouring out Coke and then get a different bottle and pour the Coke and label it healthy drink or what, green, green color, but then it's Coke, but then it's the same content. So you're moving out from Nigeria because the setting system, nepotism is right there. You have minister for sport and whatever, who's giving slots to take some people to train them and then take them to maybe Malaysia for some sport and whatever, and then he causes, but okay, okay. There was a time you were doing wrestling that time with Mbafo's husband, yes, and that one will say yes. He say, you're going to Malaysia, you're going, get your passport, and that's rubbish. Rather than getting someone who has the merit, who is of merit to travel. So these are the things that we need to tell people, that by merit you get things, not by bringing someone down, not by blackmailing. That's what I cannot stand that. When you blackmail people, I stop speaking to you. I mean, I have no business with that. It's not healthy, not healthy physically, not healthy mentally, psychologically, and above all, which is what I work with, is not healthy spiritually. It's dirty, and I cannot stand that. And that is what we're facing, in the face of Nigerian government. So we cannot say that we want to separate from Nigeria to become a healthy state, and we are actually carrying worse behavior than where we're coming from. We might as well sit in Nigeria then, So these things have to change, and I saw a comment here. Going back to your roots is good. It's good. You need to teach how you're going back to your roots. Enough of the face value conversations. You're going back to your root. How are you doing that? What do you, not by bringing someone else down, not by, insulting. When you insult people first, it means that you're not intelligent. You're not an intelligent person. You're trying to cover something by insulting first rather than educating. So if you're saying, I'm going back to my root, yeah, I'm saying this because of the comment here. When you come on your going back to your roots, you are saying this is what we're doing to go back to our roots, and this is why. Not by insulting the other person, it is by your attitude that the other person would begin to accept what you say. So if we start to create things in a certain way, you see some of the elite, they will start to join. But because you throw too much insult and then they separate, they withdraw. They cannot be found in a space where people are being insulted rather than being clarified, if you understand what I mean, Mazi. So we
Lolo, you're
need to,
absolutely
need to
right.
change, have a
Absolutely right.
change. I started this year with conscious transformation. We must see that there must be something that we will tick, cancel off our behavior. There must be something we'll, tick off and say, this, I've stopped doing this. End of 2025, I no longer do this. I do this differently. That is what life is about. And then we teach our children that as well, because we want a healthy generation. So the people we're giving birth to now, we should train them differently. Otherwise, we're just pushing this thing to the next generation, and it will not be sustainable, Mazi. So that's all I
Yeah,
have to say tonight.
Lolo, thank you. I believe that we are going to keep improving in our
Mhm.
attitude. You've said it all, because we cannot run a Biafra on sectionalism. Everybody must be carried along, including people who do not even agree with us. I have gone to certain quarters. I was engaged in an airspace yesterday where IPOB was being talked down. And this same set of people who organize this program accuse IPOB of being aggressive and insultive, and they are even doing worse. You go in there, you are not even given the opportunity to express yourself or speak. But they are also the same people complaining that IPOB is not giving people,
It's the
so
consciousness. It's the
yeah.
consciousness, but the people that, yes, it's just it's
So in that situation, you find out that it's completely difficult, and it will also be wrong for our people to believe that IPOB is the enemy. We have tried as much as possible to make our people understand that at some point we had infiltration, and we worked extremely very hard to distance ourselves from the criminal element and we'll continue to do that because we understand the objectives, we understand the purpose. So many of us graciously joined because we saw a clear vision. Uh, we've already lost our faith in Nigeria. We knew that Nigeria, personally for me, does not have any future. No matter how you try to pretend, no matter how you try to quote it, no matter how you try to make it look. For me, even as a child growing up, I knew Nigeria have no future. I've always told people that I didn't just join Mazi Nnamdi Kanu IPOB because I had his voice alone. I already had that in me subconsciously because my mother told me every evening about the Biafran story. Besides, my mother is not Igbo. My mom is not Igbo.
But she's Biafran.
She's not even Biafran.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? But she always told me about, well, to some extent, because when you look at the culture, we have similarities in culture from where she come from, including the market days and stuff. But she's, as at the time, the area she come from, they didn't participate, they didn't see themselves as Biafrans. But she was conscious, she will gather us, like the Tales and Moonlight story. She continued to tell us about it, but that story was sinking in me. So growing up, I looked at Nigeria and I questioned, why did Biafra lose this war? Because as a child, that story, that history that was removed from the books, I was, the history was told to me by my mom, who is late now, but I synced those stories in, and that gave me some sort of,
From
questions
your
in my
belief
mind.
system, yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So I used to tell people that it was my mother that prepared me to join IPOB, not just the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu voice. And that is why I said, what are the plans we have for the long term? Because we need to start teaching the new generation. We need to start sinking it in their mind. We need to create a structure that can give them the possibility. If tomorrow, because we cannot just sit back and say, hey, we must restore this Biafra today. We must
No,
also have a
no.
long-term
We
plan.
can even, Mazi, we can even, you see Catalonia, how Catalonia is.
Yes,
By the time we begin to raise the consciousness of our people and the awareness, and certain people begin to see, Biafra land will be like Dubai, even in Nigeria still. When we come together as one people, and before even the referendum, you see that we have occupied our territory, is all great and ready to go. You know,
absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. Very,
So
very
yes,
important.
Mazi.
Lolo, it's my pleasure to have you on this wonderful program, and I hope that you take your time in the future to also participate. And I believe that we would have the opportunity, and we hope that we also continue to hear. We heard that there was an altercation that broke up Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's cell with a DSS agent, but I don't want us to go into that right now because I believe that more investigations are still going on. So let's not preempt in that
Yes,
conversation.
Mazi, we have requested for the DG, Director General of the DSS, to come, because that person who had the audacity to kick Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is unwell. Recall that this man is not, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stands strong, so people do. He understands the feelings of people towards him. So when he comes to court, he has to hold strong for the people. He holds strong, but he's unwell, and this person had the audacity to kick him. So that would be, as it unfolds, I would tweet what I'm able to tweet. But we have requested for the DG to come and go meet Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and find out, investigate why that person had that audacity, what gave him that impetus to even go close to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, let alone throwing his leg.
Okay, wonderful. That is a good one. We hope that in the coming days we'll also be able to get response in that regard, and we'll continue to
Yeah.
alert the world about the danger that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu faces in the DSS custody. Lolo, it's my pleasure to have you. And until I meet you again in the future, in the shortest possible time, I believe,
Absolutely.
You are always welcome to Biafra Television Europe. And I want to say thank you, Biafrans all over the world, for many of you who commented. We saw your comment. We also saw the fight in the comment section. We really appreciate you. We thank you for sustaining and making sure that you're here to join our conversation. And I believe that next time we'll also be able to open the line for callers to, because I
Yes,
know that
for
Biafra
consciousness and mental development. That's all a very beautiful comment. Yes, consciousness
yes.
and mental development. Very
I think
important.
we have to make that a course in this program so that we'll be able to raise the consciousness of our people and also develop the mental capacity of our people to see just beyond just IPOB and the struggle, also to
Absolutely.
see Biafra from a more bigger, larger perspective and understand that everybody have a stake and everybody have a role to play in making things work for us in this journey. Thank you very much, Lolo.
Thank you, man.
Always welcome to BTV. Until I see you again, I want to say have a wonderful evening and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mazi. And thank you, Biafrans. God bless you all. And stay strong because you're the strength of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and he is your strength. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. There comes a time. The whole wide world will welcome the rising sun. Here comes the time for everyone to see that what will be, will be. This is the time for you and I to stand together as one. Yeah. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising from east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising? Oh, you wave your flag and be proud of who you are. Because the sun is rising. We're shining so bright all over the world. We are the sun, we are rising. We spent our lives simply in a mystery. Never gonna trade our freedom with any mystery. It's affecting our soul and it's killing us slow. With what we've been through, we are far from being good, but we are blessed by Chukwuka Biafra. So we're never gonna give up. We're never gonna give up. There'll be light in the wind of a tunnel. It will shine so bright all time. The whole wide world will embrace us. Nobody can stop us, nobody can cage us, nobody can stand us, yeah. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising from east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising? Oh, you wave your flag and be proud of who you are. Because the sun is rising. We're shining so bright all over the world. We are the sun, we are rising. The windows and curtains, green lights be revealing. When I think about how blessed we are, goosebumps all over my body. Sunrise to the black stripe, black strands crossing grey stripes. Clashes upon clashes, many lives turn to ashes. When I ponder and reminisce, the actions I see malice. Blood on the ground, this is how we fly. Our beautiful flag, all around the world. Blood on the ground, this is how we fly. Our beautiful flag, all around the world. We go carry the cross together. We walk through to Zion. We stumble, we rise. How the victory will start. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising. From east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising?